Hi, creative juicers, and welcome to the SEO for Creative Businesses 101. This is our online tutorial based on the workshop that I do in person. So this is going to be all the information you would have gotten if you were with me in person at one of our workshops. So welcome and thanks for joining. In this obviously in this series of tutorials, videos, we're going to be talking about how to learn to use SEO for your business. So that's our goal, and that's what we're going to focus on. And in this video, we're just going to go over the SEO basics and keywords so we understand what we're talking about. And then in the next two videos, we'll be going over how to put SEO to your images and also how to add SEO to your website and your blog posts. But let's get to what is SEO. People ask that question a lot. It's for search engine optimization, and basically SEO are techniques that help you be seen in search engines. It helps the search engines discern whether your content will be useful to its users. So search engines like Google and Yahoo are looking for, their little robots are looking for content that will help make a relevant search result for someone who is looking the information up. And SEO is something that you can do to help yourself be seen in those searches. So, well, why would you use SEO? Obviously, you want to be seen for the searches that people are doing on Google. Does anybody have, just think for a second, do you have any idea how many Google searches happen every single day? Get a little number in your head. I bet it's not going to be big enough. There are 3.5 billion Google searches per day. It's like 40,000 searches per second. So with all those searches going on, how in the world do you think that someone is going to find your content if you don't do something to help it out a little bit? SEO is going to help you be a part of that 3.5 billion Google search per day, and hopefully you'll be able to get your content rising to the top of that search bar. So all of this SEO will definitely help you be seen, be found, and also ultimately get more customers and some more business. So here are the key factors in SEO. One really important factor is about relevance, and this is basically making sure that the titles and your keywords relate to the content of your pages and your posts. This is a specific reaction to obvious spammers who were using, in the past, were using really high content, highly searched phrases and key phrases, but you would click on that and you would basically end up in some spam, spam website or something that had nothing to do with that actual search title that you thought you were going to get to. Obviously, that was not making Google happy because the people who were using Google were saying, you're not giving me good content. So Google started incorporating algorithms and all kinds of techie science to make sure that what your titles are matching actually the content that is within your blog post or your page. So they're actually able to discern that. So you want to make sure that what you're putting out there matches what you're putting out there. I doubt you would be a spammer, but just in case you were thinking about spamming, don't do it. The next factor in SEO is consistency. You want to update and refresh your website and your website's content on a regular basis. And that lets Google know that you are still in business. Google does not want to send somebody to a dead link or to a company that is no longer working, or to an article that is now irrelevant because it's got old information on it. So one way to be consistent is to make sure that you have a blog on your website. That is a way of updating and refreshing your content, and it also gives people a reason to come to your site. And I mean, there's a million reasons why you should have a blog on your website, but you want to make sure that you're updating and refreshing your website and your content on a regular basis. And the regularity is going to have to depend on you and what you're able to do, especially if you're just starting out. You may want to have your consistent output, maybe it's just once a month. And I actually don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think you need to do what you're able to do and what you're able to do consistently rather than out of the starting gate, you're going to post 5 times a week, and then that tapers off, and a month later, you're doing nothing. So start slow, but make sure you've got that consistency in there that will ultimately help you in the end with your searchability and your SEO Google ratings. Another factor in SEO is what's called metadata, and that is adding and updating keywords and contextual text to your images and descriptions on your website. And that will help Google find your content faster also. We're going to go into detail with that on how to add metadata to your images and also how to include metadata on your website pages and your blog posts. Those are going to be in the next videos. But that is what we're talking about when we refer to metadata, which is also very important. Okay, let's talk about keywords. What are keywords? Keywords are words or phrases that are used to search for specific content. So you might be familiar with hashtags. Keywords are slightly different from hashtags. They are groups of words. You can include spaces. They often are a question, so you can use question marks and grammar and apostrophes and all things like that. You basically want a keyword is essentially what you would type in if you were looking for something. So you don't realize it, but when you do a Google search yourself, you're typing in keywords. All of those words that you're using to search for content is categorized as a keyword, or key phrases is what they sometimes call them. So where do you find keywords? There are lots of apps that are supposed to help you with this. You can also use Google AdWords. If you have an account with Google and you use that for promotion, you can use the Google AdWords. I honestly think it's just as easy and super fast and really convenient just to use the Google search bar. It's going to give you a lot of information about what are relevant keywords when you start typing in a subject. So here's an example where I started typing in abstract. I was going to type in abstract art, but you start typing it in, and you know how Google will, it's called auto-filling. It's going to start suggesting content or subjects that are related to what you're typing in, and those are in order of how often people type that in. So they type in abstract more than they type in abstract art, and then under that is abstract paintings. But the point is, all of these are relevant keywords if you're going to do a blog post or if your content has something to do with abstract art. So you would go into your Google search bar, start typing in your words, and then do a screenshot like I did here, or write down what other relevant keywords come up when you start typing that. You can start getting a little bit more specific. I mean, as you know, you can type an entire sentence into Google and you'll probably find something pretty close to what you're looking for. So in this case, I put in abstract floral art, and then I got in abstract floral art prints, abstract floral artists, abstract floral art canvas, artwork, art paintings. These are all things that people have Google searched. You want to make sure that you are included in those lists if your content obviously relates to what it is that you're searching for. But those are other ways of writing it, and those are other words that will give you some idea of words that you might use both to describe, or you might use them in your blog post. That's where you're going to find them. One other additional place to look for more keywords is when you've done that search. So when I did that search for abstract floral art, if you go all the way to the bottom of your Google page, you will also see searches related to abstract floral art. So you can take a look and see what other searches have done, and if they relate and are relevant to your content, make sure you write that down. This is abstract flower drawings, abstract flowers acrylic, modern abstract flower paintings, abstract flower painting ideas. This is all regular language. These are all words that people have used over and over and over again to find abstract floral art. And if you are an abstract floral artist, you want to start using these words too, because that will help you get found. Now that you know what keywords are, these are some of the tips that we have found are really helpful. So one important aspect is to not think about as much what you think your content is about. Think about what another person would be searching for in order to find your content. So one example that I use is we have one of our creative juicers is a pet artist portrait painter. And so she should definitely have things like pet artist, pet portraits, and things like that. But if I was going to buy a gift for my mother who loves her pet, as one of many things that she does, but I'm not necessarily thinking about a pet portrait, so I might Google gifts for pet lovers, and that would also be a really good relevant key phrases for you to use in your content as well. So try really hard to think about what other people would search for, and they would be happy to have your content come up in that search result. You definitely want to write these keywords down, especially if you post similar content on a regular basis, which you probably do. You'll have some differences here and there, but you want to keep that keyword list on your computer or somewhere close to you so that you can look it up and refer to it and use it. You don't have to search every single time for every single one. You'll have that kind of already running list, and that's really, really helpful. You also want to make sure that you do a keyword search before you post your content. So, for instance, when I am writing a blog post, I've already got the content in my head of what I'm going to do. I write it all out. And then before I finish, I'll just step over to Google, start asking, a couple of questions that's related to the content I'm writing about. And I will pretty quickly find out what phrases are being used and what is the most popular way to search for the content that I'm writing about. And then I'll return to my blog post and make sure that I've added those, incorporated those into my text and into my titles. That's another great way to sort of rise to the top and play that Google search game to make sure you're up there. And then I always say, because again, we're a little stuck in our heads sometimes, a little too much. And so especially when it comes to your content that maybe is always on your website or something like that, ask your friends what they would search for to get to your content. You'll get a lot of variance into what other people are thinking and how they perceive your business, which is very important information. So those are tips on keywords. Keywords are really, really, really important. So make sure that after this video, you give it a try, kind of start looking some things up and seeing what comes up as your keywords, and record all that information. Start incorporating that into your daily web content, including your social media content. Still a great idea to do it there. The next video is going to be how to add SEO to your images that are on your website and in your blog posts. So we will see you at the next video, and thank you for joining. Hope to talk to you soon.